Madam, you can start.
Good morning, dear participants. Welcome to the next session of Galgotias InfoFest. Today's session, we will be discussing firstly the National Innovation Policy, and later on we will be introducing you with the launch of Galgotias Innovation Contest. For the first session with us, the orientation on national innovation and startup policy, the speaker for our day is Mr. Ravi Kumar Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari has a professional experience of more than 6 years. He is an ex-TBI coordinator and internship in charge creating ecosystem for entrepreneurship. He has fetched funding on entrepreneurship and startups by DST NIMAT, AICTE, MSDE. He has mentored more than 20 early stage student startups and is currently mentoring 6 startups. He is also the mentor of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Cell of Galgotias University. I request you, sir, to kindly address our students.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Vinny ma'am. Can you please share my presentation? Ma'am, can you please share my presentation which I shared with you?
Yes, sir. Just give me a minute, please.
Yeah. Yes. So just make it full screen. Yeah. Thank you so much. So first of all the students and all the faculties of Galgotias Universities who has joined over Zoom, and also those who have joined on YouTube Live. Yesterday, we had a session on panel discussion on national education policy, and then we had a session workshop on problem solving and startup canvas by Saurabh Jain. So I had received tremendous and great feedback from the Saurabh sir session, and I found that the way Saurabh sir has conducted the session, it was really impactful, and I am also going to follow the same. So मैं आज यही कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों यूज करूं for this session. So first of all, let me clear this. This session is about the National Innovation Startup Policy, which is given by the Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, right? And a detailed policy document for innovation and startup for Galgotias University is under discussion, and which will incorporate all the points of this policy document and will be published soon on the university website. So I am consulting the Vice Chancellor of this university for preparing that document. And also the difference between the national education policy and this policy is the national education policy talks about educational in general, like it is applicable to primary education as well, secondary, higher level, to all. Whereas this policy is only applicable to higher education institutions only. Means ऐसे institutes, ऐसे university जो graduation and post graduation PhD offer कर रहे हैं. So it is not applicable to schools, right? So this is applicable for only higher educational institutions. Okay. So this is what the background about this policy. So can we move ahead? So let me give you a brief about this policy. So this policy was launched last year by Honorable Minister of Human Resource. Then it was Human Resource Development. Now it is called as Ministry of Education. So Ministry of Education, Shri Ramesh Pokhriyal ji, he launched this NISP policy on 11 September 2019. So the policy intends to guide HEIs to promote students and faculty-driven innovation and startups. So it will be instrumental in leveraging the potential of students, problem solving and entrepreneurial mindset, in promoting a strong intra and inter-institutional partnership. So ये पूरी पॉलिसी जो है न सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स के लिए है, और इट इज ऑल्सो बेनिफिशियल फॉर फैकल्टी ऑल्सो, दोज हु हैव बीन कंट्रीब्यूटिंग in innovation and startups. So let's move ahead. So what are the highlighting feature of this policy? So I'm going to talk about the major points of this which this policy talks about. The first point is the creation of innovation fund for supporting the innovative projects and startups. So what this policy says that any HEIs or university college, from the overall budget of from their institutions, they must allocate minimum 1% for the innovation fund. Means promoting the startups, promoting the innovative projects. For that, the university, colleges, HEIs, they should at least allocate 1% of their total budget. This is what this policy document says. So all the innovative project, they can apply to colleges, university for getting some fund for their projects, and it has to be, the project has to be like impactful, which will create impact in the society. So university, it is up to the university and college administration and the innovation cell which projects to be selected for that. Then this policy also talks about the academic break for a semester or even a year to work on their startup. Means, let us say if there is a student, or even for faculty also, he wants to take a break in a semester, and that break can be at any time during their program, right? So they can take a break, work on their startups, and then again come back to resume their studies. This is there is a provision of doing so. So this policy talks about this can be done. The university and colleges can allow their students to take a break and allow them to resume their studies. Then this also talks about giving credits for working on innovative prototype and business model. So let us say if some student team have worked for like more than 3 months or 4 months for a particular project, even like for example, even Smart India Hackathon also. So if the level of project is very high, very difficult, and if their work is really worthy, so they can be given credit for that work, for their work. Then 2% to 9.5% equity stake in startup company by institute's incubator. For example, that let us say that institute or university has their established their own incubation center. University or college, they have given facilities to them, their students, providing facility for free, and in return for that they can charge 2%, minimum 2% and maximum 9.5% equity in the stake of students and faculty startups that has been incubated by institutes incubator, right? So they cannot charge more than 9.5. That's the provision is there. A complete ownership of IPR by the inventor in case of non-uses of institute facility resources. So that is again been said is like, suppose that किसी ने कोई प्रोजेक्ट बनाया जो कि यूनिवर्सिटी की कोई फैसिलिटी से यूज नहीं कर रहा है उसे, so complete ownership of IPR will be by that inventor only. But again, for that, the inventor has to bear all the costs. They cannot claim for university or cannot apply to university that please kindly fund me or kindly assist me for filing the patent or filing the IPR. So that has to be completely by the inventor only. Now, services that can be offered by the institution in lieu of equity can be the office space in the incubation lab facility also. This can be possible. Next, so let us go ahead in the more detail what's been in this policy. Next, please. तो सबसे पहला जो पॉइंट इसमें है कि स्ट्रेटेजीज और गवर्नेंस क्या होना चाहिए किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट और यूनिवर्सिटी का फॉर प्रमोटिंग इनोवेशन एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. तो इसमें तीन मेजर पॉइंट्स में जो बात की गई है, which is says is like the creating the innovation pipeline pathways for entrepreneurs. The second point is building organization capacity, human resources, and incentives. And the third point, it talks about collaboration, co-creation, and business relationship. So we'll understand what is all these 3 points in next slides. So please go ahead. Now, the first point is the strategies for governance for promoting entrepreneurship. So, इसमें यहाँ पे इंस्टीट्यूट को खुद की एक पॉलिसी बनाना जरूरी है, which will be incorporating all the policy, all the points for which has been there in NISP and also the state startup policy. So, for example, like Galgotias University is falling under the UP. So, UP also has their own startup policy, right? The link I have given in this slide also, so you can also check. So, that UP startup policy, it is the policy for a startup. It is not just a policy for educational institute or university. It's a policy for startups, right? So there is one chapter under this policy which talks about what kind of programs university and colleges should run to promote startups. So that point also needs to be incorporated when there will be a university level document will be created. So that is one. Now, the second point is entrepreneurial agenda should be responsive of a senior person at level of the dean, director, equivalent position with all the hierarchy and autonomy. And I'll add one more point here. It is not just with the dean, director. It should be the responsibility of all the senior students, third year, final year, and those who have won some competition, startups. So that should be in their agenda also. They should promote entrepreneurship in first year, second year students. So, like for example, let us say if third year students has won a business plan competition, let's say in IIT or anywhere, so they should promote their story, they should share their story. See, I have been given a flexibility by the university, by the college, and as a result I won this competition so and so in institute. Then resource mobilization plans should be in place. So the 1% of fund of total annual bill is already set. Then other thing is like uh, the raising the funds from the various sources like state and central agencies, incubator and university. They can also raise fund under the special purpose vehicle, which will be the incubators company, and that fund can be raised. Again, the donation can be received from the alumni of the university. So let us say if some alumni has been achieved a level of HNI, that is high net worth individual. So organization, university can take help from them also. Then all institution, all organization who are part of ISCs or those who have joined this initiative of implementing NISP, they should join ISC, participate in SIH, and participate in other ranking innovation achievement also. So I want to tell all those who have joined here that Galgotias University is been part of ISC. So you all can see that logo is there, that ISC Galgotias University, and this complete program is under the ISC Galgotias University. And university is also participating and hosted a Smart India Hackathon also, and probably will host SIH in 2021 also. And this year, for 2021, it is also participating at Atal ranking also. Next, please. So now creating the innovation pipeline and pathway for entrepreneurs. So this talks about the 3 points here. One is the like ensuring maximum students should participate, go through incubation process, problem identification, social development, proof of concept validation, prototype development. So all the students must do while they are studying their courses, their programs. So they should prepare, they must work on some project which will be creating some proof of concept, some business model. Then the university and colleges, they are going to create some model with the nearby incubation unit and take a help from them. So this is again one point for creating the innovation pipeline. Then the third point is connecting student entrepreneur with incubate startup for internships. So for example, if there is some startups from the university alumni, so the IC in charge, IPR cell in charge, entrepreneurship cell in charge, they can call these alumni entrepreneurs and request them kindly take our students for internship at your startup, right? And the university, they are going to allow them for the internships first at startups, right? And it will be a good if that startup is by the host institute and university only. So next, building organizational capacity, human resource institute. So this particular point is for faculty. So those who have joined, all faculties who have joined from Galgotias University or from other institutes also. So the faculty and department of the institutes have to work in coherence, and cross-departmental linkage must be there. So like for example, even NAP talks about the interdepartmental and branch also. So it's not just within engineering, it can also be a collaboration with engineering and non-engineering program also. So two departmental faculty or two school level faculty can collaborate and work on some projects, right? Then faculty and staff should be encouraged to do courses, training, certification on innovation, entrepreneurship, and IPR. So if there is some course by some foreign university on IPR, on entrepreneurship, so that has to be promoted also. So, but that has to be a self-driven activity at faculty level. Then now again, this is very important. So all the universities, all the colleges, they have their like self-appraisal form every year after at the end of academic year. So there will be, and there should be, like NISP said, that there should be one point which will be talking about, which will be asking what are their contribution towards innovation and entrepreneurial agenda of the university, of the college, right? So they can just highlight that I have mentored, I have participated in this competition, and I am doing this so and so. So all their achievement they can highlight in the performance appraisal form. So that has to be created. And like I said, that there is already a document is under process. So we are also, we will be incorporating that also. Next please. Now collaboration, co-creation, business relationship, and knowledge exchange. So this particular point, it talks about the MOU for innovation and startup programs. So memorandum of understanding. So we see a lot of colleges, lot of universities, they are signing MOUs for various purposes, for industry also and for academic purpose also. But they also need to explore MOU for innovation and startup programs. So for that, for example, they can approach to some incubators, and if they don't have a very rich incubation system or in rich incubator, so they can approach to some, like for example, some Atal incubation center or some NIDI funded incubation center from their nearby region, and ask them, let us sign a MOU. All the we are going to give you students from our college, our university, and kindly mentor them. So this kind of MOU should be there for co-creation of such partnership. Then knowledge exchange program must be there. Like for example, again, that can be incorporated within that same MOU. Like for example, those colleges, those university which has a rich in entrepreneurial ecosystem at their campus, so their faculty, their incubation manager can come to university for conducting some program for students as well as faculty. So there has to be some mechanism. And plus the last point is, like for example, there should be some kind of a platform should be there using all the ICT capabilities, which will be a repository of ideas, POCs. Like for example, अब गवर्नमेंट की इनिशिएटिव में बात करें, सो जैसे कि माई इनोवेट एक पोर्टल है, सो वैसा उसी तरह के कुछ पोर्टल्स, आइडिया पोर्टल्स यूनिवर्सिटी और कॉलेज लेवल पे भी हो सकते हैं, जहाँ पे स्टूडेंट्स खुद का लॉगिन करके अपने आइडियाज को शेयर कर सकते हैं, and they can get some help from within university, within university faculty, students also. So that system also needs to be created. Next point. Next slide please. Now this is a very important, so those who are like attending, kindly pay attention here, because this is a very important point for all those all faculty and students also. So please, next. Now, first of all, incentivizing the students for innovation and entrepreneurship. So what do you mean by incentivizing? मतलब इसका क्या है कि किस तरह से हम उसको प्रमोट कर सकते हैं. So for example, अगर किसी स्टूडेंट ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है, कोई स्टार्टअप सेटअप किया है, किसी पर्टिकुलर कंपटीशन जीत के आया है उन्होंने, सो उसको हम किस तरह से प्रमोट कर सकते हैं विद इन दी एग्जिस्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क, एग्जिस्टिंग करिकुलर फ्रेमवर्क. So first of all, allowing student to set up startup. It can be social, it can be tech, it can be non-tech, or working part-time for the startup while studying as working or working as an intern. इसका मतलब क्या है कि कोई भी स्टूडेंट यूनिवर्सिटी में है सो अपना खुद का स्टार्टअप सेटअप कर सकता है. इसके लिए उसे कोई अलग से परमिशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. They just can inform to their individual faculty member or head of the department, dean, that sir, I am doing this startup and I may need some help from the university for considering my attendance. So there is a norm for attendance also in next slide. So we are going to talk about that. So this is one point. Now the second point is allowing student to earn credit for working on innovative prototype and business model. So yesterday, the Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Galgotias University, Dr. Preeti Bajaj, she talks about that all those who has worked for SIH 2020. So she has given a credit for those students, and they don't need to write exam for few subjects that has been mapped for the SIH project, right? So this can also be done in a formal way, in a right policy document, like so allowing students to earn credit for working on an innovative prototype and business model. But again, it has to be done in a proper way, means what mapping needs to be done to which subject. For example, let us say someone is doing a project on environmental, right? So if there is any subject which is talking about or which is relating with the environment, so that needs to be mapped with that particular subject. Or let us say, for example, if someone has done a project in artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? So in artificial intelligence and machine learning, which kind of project he has worked, and that can be mapped with a particular course, particular subject, right? Then student innovator entrepreneur may allow to opt for startups in place of mini project, major project, seminar, summer training. So let us say if some final year student is saying that I am going to do a full-time project, full-time startups instead of doing a project. So that is again will be allowed. But again, like I said, though we are giving flexibility for students, but at the same time they need to take ownership, and the university and the cell in charges, they are going to ask for a timely review, and they must provide that. And if they fail to do so, so they are going to get less mark or whatever the repercussion will be there, right? Then allow student entrepreneurs to take semester break, year break to work on their startups. So this again, I have already talked about that. Like there is a provision like a 6 month or 3 months break they can take, and then again come back to resume their studies. So that can also be done, right? But it again, it has to be a very well defined guidelines for that also. Then allowing student entrepreneur innovator to sit for examination. But again, here very important, there must be a minimum attendance criteria. Like for example, I know that minimum right now the minimum attendance criteria is 75%, right? So the university at their level, again I am repeating, the university and college at their level, they need to fix that what should be the minimum attendance for those who are involved in startups, right? So obviously it cannot be completely zero. Like for example, if someone is saying that I am going startup, I'm not going to attend any classes, so that obviously that cannot be possible. So there will be relaxation, I am again repeating, there will be a relaxation in attendance criteria, right? But that cannot be claimed like as like, since the NISP says that relaxation will should be given, so but it cannot be students is not attending classes at all, so that is not there. So it is only a relaxation in attendance, okay? Then allowing student entrepreneur to use the address of hostel, pre-incubation, and also the university address, college address, to register their venture while studying at HEIs. So as long as they are part of university, as long as they are part of college, they can register. If they are registering for a startup, they can register the college university address as a company address, right? So this is also possible. all they need to do is just take a formal permission from the university chancellor or vice chancellor or the college director, principal, whoever is the competent authority for that. So just write an application in pro forma, which may be available, or if it is not available, they can just write on a plain paper that kindly give me permission to use university address for my startups. So obviously, the university will be happy to do that. Colleges will be happy to do that, right? But as long as they are being part of university and as a students, right? So this is one thing. And again, meanwhile, if any students has questions, they can just note down. I am going to take few questions at the end of the session. So please, you can just note down your question, and by the end of presentation, we can take questions, right? Next, please. Now again, incentivizing faculty for innovation and startups. So again, like the policy document is saying that allowing students to start startup, it also give provision for allowing faculty to start their startups. But again, a very detailed guidelines are there. Like for example, first of all, what kind of startups are allowed? So let us say if some faculty has developed some kind of a technology by working on the technology developed in the lab of the university or institutes, they can make a startup on that particular technology, on that particular project which has been developed at university lab, right? But again, they need to give some equity, they need to give some stake for that, like already provision is there, 2% to 9.5%, they need to give to university, right? Then allowing faculty to staff to take off a semester or year as sabbatical, unpaid leave, casual leave, earned leave for working on their startups and come back. So, like for example, all the university and all the colleges, they have a particular set of the leaves which has been given to faculty, so they can submit all their leaves at once, right? And go back to work for their startups and then again rejoin their responsibility, their duties, right? And if they are taking more than the permissible leaves, so that can will be considered as the unpaid leave, right? So the colleges and university, they need to allow such kind of provision, such kind of faculty needs to be given such kind of a relaxation, right? But again, it needs to be, it is at the decision of the competent authority, competent of the dean. Like for example, it may happen that for a particular subject offered in a semester, there is only one faculty, so they cannot allow them to take a leave for that, because then it will be compromising with the academics, so that should not be done. So all the provision which is there for faculty, it should not compromise their primary duty. That should be keep in mind. Now again, third point is no restriction on share that staff and faculty can take as long as they don't spend more than 20% of office time on the startup in advisory or consultant role and don't compromise with their existing academic and administrative work or duties. So again, I have already emphasized on that in no way, in no scenario, they can compromise the existing academic and administrative work which has been assigned by the college and university, right? So let us say that in a week, if you have a 48 hours of office time, so 20% of your total overall office time, that is, if you consider for 20% of 48 hours, so probably it is coming around somewhere 8 to 9 hours. Like, so if you are spending 8 to 9 hours in a week for consulting some startups as in the advisory, and for that, if you are taking some share from that startups for that company, for giving your consultancy or giving your knowledge to that company, you are allowed to take that, and there is no restriction on what should be the share you need to take from that company, right? But again, next point was what it says. So in case of faculties drawing salary, so if you are doing that, so if you are taking some shares for giving your consultancy, your advisory to a particular company, to a particular startups, and at the same time, if you are drawing salary from the institute, you need to give some percent of your share to institute, which is what 20% of total share. So let us say कि आपको 50%, आपको 20% मिल रहा है किसी कंपनी से शेयर के रूप में, तो उस 20% का 20% आपको इंस्टीट्यूट को देना पड़ेगा, ठीक है। सो ये थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे कॉम्प्लिकेशंस है, बट जिनको समझता है वो बहुत ही सरल भाषा में ये है कि अगर आप किसी कंपनी से 20% ले रहे हैं, तो उस 20% का 20% आपको इंस्टीट्यूट को देना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज आप इंस्टीट्यूट से सैलरी ले रहे हो, ठीक है। या फिर 9%, 9.5% ऑफ टोटल स्टेक। सो दोनों में से जो चीज मिनिमम रहेगी वो आपको इंस्टीट्यूट को देना पड़ेगा। तो अगेन इसके लिए भी एक डिटेल गाइडलाइन यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल पे, कॉलेज लेवल पे होनी चाहिए, जो कि ऑलरेडी इन प्रोसेस है फॉर गलोटियास यूनिवर्सिटी, एंड ऑल द अदर यूनिवर्सिटी दे नीड टू टेक केयर ऑफ दैट आल्सो, राइट। नेक्स्ट प्लीज। नाउ व्हाट आर द नॉर्म्स फॉर द फैकल्टी स्टार्टअप्स? सो फैकल्टी स्टार्टअप्स के लिए क्या नॉर्म है? लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कोई स्टार्टअप फैकल्टी खुद का स्टार्टअप शुरू करना चाहता है, तो उनके लिए क्या नॉर्म है? तो सबसे पहला जो नॉर्म है, दैट role of faculty while teaching. So like for example, if koi faculty, which I consider that all the 100% faculties, those who are enrolled working for university or college, they are involved in teaching. So they can work as a founder, they can be involved as a founder, owner, co-founder, director, promoter, advisor, mentor, consultant, whatever role. But they cannot take a role of some managerial level. Like for example, they cannot be CEO or other managerial role. Why? Because if someone is taking a role of a CEO or some manager level role in particular startups, so they need to give maximum time of their for working for that startups, right? So obviously they cannot do that, right? So their primary job has to be a teaching, and apart from teaching work, they can give their time for as a consultant, as a founder, co-founder, for their own startups, right? Now again, they cannot draw salary from that startups. So even though they can be co-founder, they can be director, they can be advisor, but they cannot monthly salary or even any type of salary from that startup. They can hold some equity, they can hold shares in that startup, but they cannot draw salary, because they are already drawing salary from a one source, that is university and college. And again, they can't accept grip from his own startups. So again, like those who knows this tax benefit, so they should not do that. So I won't go into detail part of it, but only thing is like they cannot accept gift from their own startups, right? He can take share on profit and dividend only if any startup as owner or shareholder. So that's again one thing, which is what for the norms for the faculty startups. Again, the second point, which I am again insisting, that primary objective, primary responsibility, primary role for faculty would be only teaching, as long as they are at university. Apart from the university office timing, they can devote their work for working on their startups, right? Then faculty must clearly separate, distinguish their ongoing research institute from the work conducted at the startups company. So for example, let us say that if they have got some funding from the university R&D itself, or some funded project from the government sector, that cannot be taken up as a startup, or even not even some part of that work can be taken up as a startup work. So they need to clearly distinguish their ongoing research as an institute and their startup work. There should be a clear distinction between these two things. What is that? Research, ongoing research, which has been funded by the university and by the external agency, that should not get mixed, right? In case of selection for acceleration or incubation, he may take. So like for example, if some faculty startups is applying for, let us say, IIT Bombay. So IIT Bombay का जैसे incubation center का नाम है साइन. So it's one of the top incubators in India. So अगर वहाँ पे कोई acceleration program है, incubation program है, किसी यूनिवर्सिटी, किसी कॉलेज का फैकल्टी वहाँ के incubation program के लिए अप्लाई करता है, या कोई फंडिंग के लिए अप्लाई करता है, and if he gets selected, so he will be allowed to go there and undergo the incubation program. And for that, he can ask, he may take a sabbatical leave or any other whichever is applicable for 1 semester or year, whichever based on the committee recommendation. Now, again, last point, faculty must not involve research staff. For example, if there are any PhD full-time researchers or any external researchers uh, been working in the university institute, they should not be involved in their startups. So again, this needs to be taken care. Next, please. Now, what are the incubation and pre-incubation support facility needs to be created at institute level? So I already talked about this point that university and colleges, they need to have a separate sectionate company, which generally end up as a name of foundation. Like for example, there are so many technology business incubation centers. So mostly the college name, like for example, XYZ TBI Foundation, right? So let us say the name of the university or college is XYZ. So the name of that company would be, or maybe whatever they decide, XYZ TBI Foundation, right? So for example, that is what the SPV Section 8 of a Company Act, that needs to be a separate entity for incubation. Now the pre-incubation, what pre-incubation means? So pre-incubation means कोई भी स्टार्टअप्स को कंपनी बनाने के पहले जो सपोर्ट लगता है, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल मेंटरिंग हो गया. सो ई सेल आईआईसी, दिस आर ऑल नथिंग बट अ प्री इंक्यूबेशन यूनिट्स, राइट, जो कि आपको मदद करते हैं आपका बिजनेस मॉडल बनाने के लिए, आपको कनेक्ट करने के लिए अलग अलग सोर्सेस के साथ में, राइट. सो इसको हम लोग कहते हैं प्री इंक्यूबेशन. एंड देन वंस यू फॉर्म अ कंपनी, एंड देन वो कंपनी को चलाने के लिए जो मदद चाहिए, जो इन्वेस्टमेंट आपको रेस करना है, वो सब आता है किसमें, वो आता है इंक्यूबेशन सपोर्ट में. ओके, देन जो भी फैसिलिटी क्रिएट होगी इंक्यूबेशन की, दैट नीड्स टू बी एक्सेसिबल, दैट शुड बी एक्सेसिबल टू 24/7 फॉर स्टूडेंट एंड स्टाफ and faculty of all discipline and department across the institutes. Now again I am saying that these are all this framework which is being suggested by Ministry of Education Innovation Cell. So therefore that it is not necessary that all the points needs to be very in a hard way needs to be implemented. So like for example, if a university, if a college is situated in a very remote place, so obviously they cannot have a accessibility to 24/7. For campus startups, campus university where staff and students, they are all living within a same campus, like IITs and the other IITs, IIT Bombay and IIT Delhi. So all staff, all faculty, all students are living in a within a campus. So for them, this may be possible, but some universities, some colleges, this may not be possible. So they need to have that for how long this facility must be open for students, staff, and faculty. Then provision and streamline relevant services, mentoring support through incubation, incubation rate in return for fees, equity sharing, zero payment basis. Now the university and the management, they can decide what should be the rental, कितना रेंटल लेना चाहिए पर मंथ बेसिस पे, या लेना भी चाहिए कि नहीं लेना चाहिए स्टूडेंट से, ये मैनेजमेंट जो भी डिसीजन अथॉरिटी है उनके ऊपर है कि कितना लेना चाहिए. बट उसमें एक अपर लिमिट सेट की गई है इन दिस पॉलिसी, विच इज अगेन इज व्हाट 2% to 9.5%. सो इक्विटी जो भी रहेगा इन रिटर्न फॉर स्पेस, infrastructure, mentorship, seed fund, accountant, legal, and all the support, or even for patent support also. So in return of that, maximum equity can be 9.5%. This is what been said in this document. Now, in case of there is a mutual understanding between the university incubation center and the students team that we won't go for the equity, we won't be giving our equity. So in that case they need to give monthly rental, so it can be decided how much that rental needs to be there. And for student startups, a cooling period of 3 months can be given. So like for example 3 महीने के लिए उनको फ्री में हम लोग दे सकते हैं यूनिवर्सिटी इंक्यूबेशन. And after that, it is the decision will be the with the competent authority. Next point. Now this talks about the, this already IP or technologies developed at HEIs. So again, किसी भी तरह की टेक्नोलॉजी जो कि इंस्टीट्यूट में डेवलप की गई, इंस्टीट्यूट के लैब में डेवलप की गई है, सो उसका ओनरशिप यूनिवर्सिटी और इन्वेंटर, जिसने वो फैकल्टी हो या स्टूडेंट्स, सो दोनों को जाएगा साथ में, इफ दे आर यूजिंग द इंस्टीट्यूट्स यूनिवर्सिटीज facilities. If any of the inventors want to start a startup based on the technology developed as above, means so that can be licensed to inventor with royalty would no more be 4% of the sales price. So again, ये काफी टेक्निकल टर्म्स है. सो मैं उसके ऊपर डिटेल डॉक्यूमेंट में आपको क्लियरली गाइडेंस लिखी रहेगी क्या है चीज है ये. बट जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दैट whatever the technology which has been developed and जिसके लिए पेटेंट या आईपीआर फाइल हुआ है, उस टेक्नोलॉजी से they can a team of student or a combined team of student and faculty, they can form a startup based for that technology. And the consultancy, जो consultancy देखती है किसी भी यूनिवर्सिटी एंड colleges में, consultancy cell can define what should be the consultancy charges for that particular technology, right? So कमर्शियल लेवल पे अगर किसी टेक्नोलॉजी को लेके जाना है तो उसके लिए कुछ ना कुछ कंसल्टेंसी फीस देना पड़ेगा आपको, यूनिवर्सिटी को, इंस्टीट्यूट्स को. सो मेनी ऑफ द स्टार्टअप्स, मेनी ऑफ द कंपनीज, इंडस्ट्रीज, they are taking like the some technology which has been developed by IITs, and in return of that they are giving some money to IITs. So this is a kind of a model which is also been said here. So if at all, if there is any dispute of IPR ownership, the committee member, the 5-member committee which will look into the matter and recommend to the chancellor or the vice chancellor of the university or to competent authority what decision needs to be taken, right? Interdisciplinary research, publication on startup and entrepreneurship should be promoted. So our interdisciplinary approach is always has been talked in national education policy also and innovation policy also. So any combine, you are combining AI with agriculture, you combine AI with biomedical, this kind of projects needs to be promoted. Next please. So pedagogy, learning intervention. So the pedagogy, इसका मतलब क्या है कि करिकुलम, विद इन करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क में क्या क्या चीजें हो सकती है. सो लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, आपकी जो भी करिकुलर एंड को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज है जो कि इनोवेशन एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप से रिलेट कर रही है, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल आपने किसी ई सेल का कंपटीशन अटेंड किया है, किसी बाहर की ई सेल का, राइट? और इवन फॉर एग्जांपल कॉलेज का ही ई सेल के कोई इवेंट आपने अटेंड किया है, सो यू कैन जस्ट राइट दैट, सी I have attended this, and you may be given some assignment marks. So like for example, IA 4 marks or IA 5 marks. So that can be given like as a curricular marks for the curricular and co-curricular activities. Create and publish toolkit on startups and innovation. So like for example, there should be some kind of a material needs to be developed, like business, what are the templates for business model, what are the formats for various innovation contests, that needs to be developed. Then students clubs, bodies on innovation and entrepreneurship, startup must be established and engaged. So obviously the e-cell in any institutes is very important, and the students IIC body. So this two body I recommend that needs to be there. So already at Galgotias University, these two bodies has been there. So if any students or any students of Galgotias University, they want to be part of it, they can just contact the coordinators of this InnoFest. They'll help you out in joining the ECEL and ISC. Okay. Then HEI should start recognizing and giving innovation and entrepreneurship awards to best achiever from campus annually. So this again, there is a document which has been under process, which will be giving a kind of entrepreneurship award to student entrepreneurs for some achievement. So I know that there are one or two startups who is continuously participating at various incubation as and various Mistran competition, and not just that, they are also winning also. So it's not just participation, they are winning also. So we can award them some award and publish them on university website and social media, right? Then creating awareness. within students and teaching methods. Like for example, all the management students, so they must incorporate case studies of failed startups, right? These points I really recommend to all those for all the not just from management students, all the institutes, all the different courses, they should do case study on failed startups, because failed startup will give you a lot of learning, which might not be being given like from the, might not be taken from the successful startups, right? So case study from failed startups really needs to be seriously taken, right? So like already which has been mentioned here also, case study of real business story of failure and success. So success, obviously, everyone will make a case study of success stories, and obviously you are going to get a lot of material for that also, ready-made material, which is very popular in students, copy and paste. But I request, don't do that, and kindly search for failed startups or some startups which is successful but has not been featured anywhere on internet, right? So need to find out and do some case study on that. Pedagogical changes needs to be done. So pedagogical changes means it is nothing but a teaching learning methods. ये कैसे change हो सकती है? Like for example, कि maximum number of student projects and innovation must be on the real life challenges. So like for example, हम लोग बात करते हैं NCR and Delhi की. So like pollution, air pollution is a very relevant topic. So इसके ऊपर काफी projects किए जा सकते हैं at university level, right? And constant, it must be constantly reviewed and updated. So this is what this intervention must be there within pedagogical and teaching learning. Next. Now this is the last point of this orientation program on NISP. Then we are going to take if there are at all any questions. So all this initiative, all these points which we have talked, so that must be assessed. So how we can assess? So the first point, the key performance indicator is like number of students won awards in innovation competition outside institute and university. So कितने students टीम है जिन्होंने इनोवेशन कंपटीशन जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल कुछ रोबोटिक्स कंपटीशन हो सकता है, या फिर जो कार्टिंग के कॉम्पिटिशन्स होते हैं, मैकेनिकल स्टूडेंट्स लोग काफी पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं ऐसे कॉम्पिटिशन्स में. सो कितना पार्टिसिपेशन है और कितने अवार्ड्स जीते ऐसे टीम्स ने, सो दैट कैन बी अ वन पैरामीटर, राइट. द सेकंड पैरामीटर इज कितने स्टूडेंट्स हैं जिन्होंने स्टार्टअप या बिजनेस प्लान कंपटीशन में पार्टिसिपेट किया है एंड प्लस कुछ अवार्ड्स भी लेके आए. So that award can be even first, second, third, and even it can be considered as if they have reached to final stage, final level of some competition. Then a number of, even I would say participation is also beginning. So even if some students are participating, that can also be counted as a indicator. Now the number of students entrepreneur working on a startup. So if some students teams are working on a startups, so that needs to be documented. And if students are student, if some students are working on particular startup work, particular startup, they need to inform to their dean and their mentor that sir, I am working on this startup, so that it can be documented with IIC or the ESEL. Then how many students has n corporate company? So at initial level, this number may be very less, but again, this is one of the parameters. Then how many student startups are selected for the pre-incubation, incubation, accelerator program offered by outside agency, outside incubators? Then how many faculty are involved in startups or created their startups, have started their own startups? Then the last one would be how many number of patent converted to commercial products. So filing is one thing. So many startups, many institutes, many faculty, they are now filing the patent, but they need to ensure that the further process of patent must be done. Like the further process is like the examination of patent, then the grant of patent, and once the grant of patent, they need to ensure that it goes to commercial level also. So that can also be taken as a key performance parameter. So next slide. So that's thank you so much. So if at all, if there is any suggestion for incorporating NISP at Galgotias University, which is already under process, so they can send at the ic.galgotias at the Galgotias University, and kindly CC it to the Vice Chancellor mail also. So all the suggestions, feedback are welcome for developing such policy at university level. So thank you so much. And now we are open to questions. So if at all, if there is any questions, we can take.
Uh,
Ma'am, you can just enable the chat.
yes, sir. Dear students, we have enabled the chat. If you have any questions, please put into the chat box.
So the norms for the students and faculty, this is a very important point. So I suggest there would be some questions on that. I accept, sorry, not suggest, I accept that, expect कि कुछ questions होंगे उसके ऊपर. So Vishal is asking when will the documentation will be completed. So I cannot commit on these. So it is already under process. First draft is already created and is being discussed with all the in charges. And I hope so. Maybe in the month of January it will be published. And for information, we are trying to incorporate the all the points which has been there, which I have highlighted today in at NISP.
So we have received a question from the YouTube. Students have typed in the YouTube, so I'm just conveying it here to you.
Yes, sir.
Students are asking that if their startup policy is
Hmm.
involved in multiple semester courses. Say, for
Hmm.
example, they are in first semester and
Hmm.
the project they are working on is involved with two different semesters
Hmm.
of the
Hmm. Hmm.
courses.
Hmm.
So, what will be the relaxation that will be given to them in this regard?
So
Will it
relaxation
be
in terms,
applicable? Yeah. Will it be
relaxation in terms of
applicable?
attendance, they are talking.
So I guess attendance or the assessment, either.
Uh, Yes, ma'am. So it will be applicable for attendance also, and the assessment in terms of like the marks which has been the parameters of assignment, which talks about the curricular activities. So if curricular activities uh, points like the assignment marks within that particular subject, if they are working and they need to, if they are submitting timely reports to their mentors, and it is been available with the ISC and ESL also, and the VC office also. So obviously they are going to get relaxation for that also, and obviously they to their respective school dean also. So only thing is like they need to ensure that the reporting must be done properly.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Vishal has asked some question. Let me just read this. Yeah, he's asking, are we going to have any webinar on further steps on converting the patent to commercial products? So yes, we are going to have, like already we are going to launch the Galgotias Innovation Contest today, and whoever is the finalist for that innovation contest, they are going to get support for patent filing, and plus at the same time for converting to a commercial level. Harshit has asked that what kind of a legal support will be provided. So legal support will be provided in terms of like how you can set up your own startup company. So there are many CAs, many agencies which help you in setting up startups. So nominal charges for them was like, even if you go on your own, so it's more, normally it takes to 10,000 to 20,000. So there are many agencies who charge for that, like plus 2,000 for that work, and we are going to connect you with them. Yeah, so sir, if anyone have any doubt with relation to startup, One second again. Let me just read this. So Ananya Goswami, she's like asking, see if anyone have any doubt with relation to startup, whom to contact at first. So you can just contact to the IIC. So Vinay, if you can just type the IIC mail in chat box. So this has been look after a few in charges of IICs. So anyone will take up the call. So who should take answering particular doubt. So you can just mail to iic.galgotias or even student entrepreneur student volunteers also. So Harshit and Bishal, they are you if you can just put in your number also in chat box. So you can contact to these guys also. So Harshit, Bishal, Ayush, Ishan, these are all the IIC student members. So you can contact them also. So if at all, if we don't have any questions, no further questions, we can conclude this. Now, Mayank Sisodiya, can we also tell our ideas after innovation? Um, Manish, where is this? Yeah, can we also tell our idea after innovation contest if we get it later on also? Yes, obviously. So this contest we are trying to have a quarterly basis, and you can always mail to ISC and ECEL also. So Vishal, I guess you are looking after the ECEL mail also. So if you can just share your ECEL mail also. So ECEL and IIC mail, you can share your idea and you can just request, sir, I need help on this. So we are definitely going to get back to you. So not just in context. So thank you so much. Please, all those who have joined, I request you to stay back for the launch of the Galgotias Innovation Contest, which is in next 5 minutes we are going to do that, and we are going to switch to next YouTube live stream. So I request Manoj sir, you can just stop this stream, and at 12 o'clock we can start the innovation contest stream.
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'd like to take a 5 minutes break before we go to the launch of the innovation contest.